Hello, this is Ellie, and I will be explaining the first half of our PowerPoint about circadian rhythm disorders, which me and Rachel made together. So, what is it? A circadian rhythm disorder is when your body's internal clock that tells you to sleep or wake up is it's off. And so you might be getting the same amount of sleep, but at different times. And because you're sort of off from the rest of society, it can cause sleep deprivation because you're not awake when the sun comes up or goes down or when there's main working hours and stuff like that. So this can take different forms. Advanced, which would mean you were falling asleep really late. There's delayed, which means you'd fall asleep maybe earlier in the day. Then there's just irregular, in which your rhythm's off. Then there's jet lag. This is a common cause that most of us experience when the time zone switches. There's non-24-hour sleep wake, which would mean that it doesn't actually go in the 24-hour cycle, so you are getting a really irregular amount of sleep. And then there's shift work disorder, in which you may have a job that makes it difficult to stay on a typical 24-hour cycle. So what are some of the causes? One can be your age. As you get older, it is harder to keep such a stable rhythm. A lot of older people suffer from insomnia and inability to sleep, which would be classified also as a circadian rhythm disorder. There's also environment or occupation. So again, if your work requires you to get up at 5 a.m. every morning, that's going to throw off your schedule because you won't be able to go to sleep as late as everybody else. You'll need sleep earlier. This is also something that can run in the family. So your genetics could be a reason for this. Researchers are still investigating that one and exactly how that works. There's also lifestyle habits. So, that could involve just staying up later, working up earlier. That doesn't have to rely on your job. And then some medications can mess with your circadian rhythm cycle too. And that is a cause. Okay, so some existing research. There's a lot about circadian rhythm disorders and causes, and that's been very established. One research that I think is super interesting is how having circadian rhythm sleep disorder specifically, as opposed to other sleep disorders, as it was tested in the trial, can lead to type 2 diabetes. And it's because when you are sleeping in the correct circadian rhythm, there's a certain stage of sleep in which your muscles monitor glucose metabolism and they secrete insulin. So they sort of test your sort of glucose, your ability to create insulin that digests it. And there's a certain part of your sleep that does that. And when you are sort of off with your rhythm, you're not entering that stage of sleep. And so your insulin is not being produced and it's not digesting your glucose. And that can lead to type 2 diabetes. This is very specific to circadian rhythm sleep disorder. So I thought that was very interesting. This is diabetes type 2. Okay, So for our planned research, we will infuse the brain with caffeine with an injection in the pineal gland every 24 hours. We will also inject the pineal gland every 24 hours with melatonin. However, these will be on a 12-hour rotating schedule. At 8 p.m., the subject will be injected with a heavy dose of melatonin, only to be injected with caffeine the following morning at 8 a.m. We will follow this procedure for 12 weeks to see if we can fix a circadian rhythm disorder. The roadblocks are lifestyle factors may impact the experiment, such as caffeine, screen time, exercise, and food intake. And who will benefit from the current research? Those with type 2 diabetes will benefit from the research, and more people that are experiencing sleep disorders.